Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am the ADV.
I'm Cheapy Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay.
And I'm Kozi.
And we're back. It's our last Anime Yay or Nay of spooky season, and what better way to go out than with some good old ghost stories. Specifically, Ghost Stories, the ADV dub, one of the best dubs ever made. Any arguments against that?
It's definitely one of the most iconic.
Yes. Best of all.
An argument, it's not one of the, it's the.
Yes.
Full stop.
Oh, what a lovely time. When's the first time everybody saw this?
Our anime club.
Really? Okay.
At least for me.
I didn't see it until after I saw, what's his name at Sangawa?
I don't know who, and I don't know that we should say who.
No, one of the voice actors was there.
I know Chris Patton was at Techo.
I think it did
A
start
while
with
ago.
a T. Todd Hapricorn.
Oh no.
Was he in this one?
Yes.
Okay. I went to a panel at, I think, ColossalCon with one of the voice actors from this. I don't remember which one it was, though.
I mean, Monica Rial was in it, so...
Who was Todd Hapricorn? I'm trying to,
He was Hajime.
That was Chris Patton.
Oh, that was Chris Patton? Really?
Yeah, that was Chris Patton.
He may not have been in it, but at the very least, he knew the story behind it.
Okay.
So he was just talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, yeah, because I was like, I feel like I would have recognized that.
I mean, the legend behind this dub is, well, a legend. Like,
I mean, not much of a, it was like, you know, this was kind of, God, when was this dub made? This was like the early 2000s, like 2000 frickety frick. It was created, okay, the show was created in 2000, so this came to the States a few years later. And essentially, I guess it was well received enough in Japan, but not so much that everyone was going to be like, oh, this is like going to be a big thing that we have to do. So I think they essentially told the dubbing company ADV, look, do whatever you can to sell this. The only thing is you can't change the names of the characters or the ghosts. Other than that, you got carte blanche.
Yeah, so it wasn't them offering that. It was that none of the companies would touch it.
Yeah,
unless they got creative freedom.
Yeah, they got carte blanche because, So...
Yeah, I'm saying they didn't offer it, like, originally.
Okay, at a certain point, it got offered that way.
No, they were told point blank. Either this is what you give us, or it's not going to come over.
Whatever. One way or another, they got carte blanche to do whatever they want as long as they didn't change the names of the characters or the ghosts. Which led to...
They also had to keep the lip flaps.
Well, you'd have to keep that for the timing of the show. You can't really change that no matter what. So that's every show has to keep the lip flaps. But,
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, essentially, they had a not blank check, just like, we're allowed to do whatever they want, make whatever jokes they want. It's basically a gag dub, more or less.
it's their own abridged
that got
series.
an official release. It's not I can't call it that because it's not an abridged series. It's not abridged. It's not shortened in any way.
Well, a parody series, or what you're
It's absolutely that. It's a parody. It's a gag dub. It's...
But it's an official dub. That's the best part. They made their own shitpost.
Yeah. They made shitposting almost before shitposting was a thing.
And Monica Rial, who's the Jesus freak in the group, she, in interviews, pretty much said, yeah, there was a quote-unquote script, but a lot of the times they were encouraged to just ad-lib. You can just tell, because this dub would not be made today in today's political climate.
No, it would not. But, like, beyond that, it was also, apparently it was whoever got to the recording booth first that day got to set the tone for all the jokes and stuff, because everybody else had to work off what they had already put down. So, if Chris Patton shows up, it's going to be the Chris Patton episode. If Monica Rial shows up, it's the Monica Rial episode. And everybody else has to just basically work around. If Greg airs, blah, 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 keep going with that. And... I think it's really great that all of them worked off of each other so well to build off of each other's jokes the way they did, for the most part. Yes, some of them don't age great, but a lot of them are still really funny.
Especially watching it come out of the mouths of 5th graders.
Yeah. It's...
I mean, literally, you don't really need to. I mean, you can watch the full series, but in all honesty, just watch best of compilations on YouTube of
Yeah,
the
that's a
best
good
jokes,
way.
and you'll. Because that's how I was first introduced to this series. Because I don't know how the conversation came up, but someone brought up the Ghost Stories dub, and we watched some clips,
It was
laughed our
probably
ass
me.
off, and then eventually in Anime Club we decided to watch the full thing. Which I'll admit, some of the jokes as the season went on, like I pretty much watched all but 2 of the episodes, so like basically all but like I think 23 out of 25 or something like that, and it did get old after a while. But man, when the jokes hit, at least for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's you shouldn't laugh at this stuff, but I can't help it. I sometimes laugh.
Yeah. I think we should kind of maybe go over the premise a little bit. The basics of this is, 2 new kids show up in town. They moved into a house and are going to school, but the old schoolhouse is haunted, full of ghosts, because they're redeveloping a mountainside that housed all the resting spirits of all these ghosts, and now they gotta catch these spirits and put them back to spiritual sleep with the help of, what was her name? Shit.
I thought the plot was just the demon
Satsuki.
cat.
Yeah, Satsuki's mom had a book. She originally trapped all the ghosts, and now they found the book, and it's time to... Is this 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo?
I'm sorry, is this the plot of the dub or the actual plot of the show?
They're kind of the same thing. They have to be. I mean, you can't really, just... I mean, the jokes are all put into the show, but the plots are the same, more or less, Ghosts are running amok. You have a book that helps you put them away so they don't kill you.
It's the same story, just the execution is
Wildly
gag.
different.
Mm-hmm. So...
Not gonna lie, did not realize there was actually much of an overarching story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
I mean, the plot itself is pretty much that, all the ghosts are now out. Satsuki and crew gotta go get them and put them back. And Amanajaku, the cat, is essentially, there to kind of heckle them, but also, help at the same time.
Yeah, he's Slimer in the second Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's
He was trying
basically...
to possess the kid, though, wasn't it? The real little one?
I thought he
At
was
one
just trying to
point.
kill them, for the most part.
Yeah.
No, I think it was
But-
one of the spirits got trapped in the cat's body on accident.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
they
that was
just
the big
left
ogre
him in
one.
there.
I mean, they couldn't
Um.
really get him out unless, all the other spirits went to sleep, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I always thought the cat reminded me a lot of Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I think that was kind of the point.
I feel like that's just an archetype at this point, the sassy black cat.
Was the cat not actually evil, though?
It was.
Yeah.
Although it was kind of sort of like a helpful adversary, more or less, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best example of that is probably, the third episode, whenever they do it's the school play or whatever, and, he's like, oh, I'm gonna have a lot of fun watching you guys die. Well, you realize if we die, you're gonna die too. Oh, shit, well, I better help. So, he helps out then. He grows on them, and they grow on him a little bit. By the end of the series, they're sad to see him go, but he's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, that was surprisingly sad. Just seeing the spirit leave the cat and the cat just being a normal cat.
I think it's one of those things of yeah, he's an asshole, but he's our asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, who's your guys' favorite
It's a lot.
character? Hmm?
the Monojaku leaving the cat, it feels a lot like the end of Detective Pikachu. Has anybody not
I
seen
haven't
that?
seen it.
I've seen it.
Okay.
No. I don't
I
care
was-
about spoilers, though.
I get what you're saying there, but at the same time, I mean, they weren't really gone when you think about it.
Well, yeah, but just seeing Pikachu as a normal Pikachu, I was like, oh, I'm kind of sad now.
But now he has other thing.
Yeah,
Not to spoil.
you're right. Okay.
I feel like it was more akin to Kiki's delivery service where
Yes.
Gigi
Yeah.
talked to her.
Yeah. Because that actually kind of impacted Kiki a little bit.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, like in the original, like for the sub, Gigi doesn't get their voice back, but in the dub, Gigi does. So
Of
Oh,
course.
Gigi
That was
never, she doesn't get her powers back enough?
No, like Gigi, like in the English dub, and I'm not sure why Disney did this because Disney's the one that dubs all Ghibli films.
Mhm.
Like they gave Gigi back the voice, and it was more the fact that like it was meant to show that Kiki was, growing up. So that part of her magic was gone. She couldn't speak to Gigi anymore because Gigi had a lot of ties to her past. But that was more like a creative choice. I don't think Gigi ever actually talked to the book.
So
But-
was
He
it
did-
not
he
her
did.
familiar anymore?
I mean, yes, but they didn't have that connection because whenever she like was struggling with her magic, like still her familiar, but just like the connection of being able to speak was no longer there.
Seems a number of people aren't remembering this movie very well. I'm thinking we're going to have to rewatch Kiki's delivery service at some point. I'm not complaining. That's always a good time. Any Ghibli movie, almost any Ghibli movie is a good time. So, back to this
I'm gonna
cat.
watch Grave of the Fireflies.
It's a good movie. It's just sad. So, back to Ghosters. Who's your guys' favorite character?
The cat.
Cat?
Yeah. I mean,
Cat.
none of the characters are really
It's-
likable in the dub. They kind of range from somewhat annoying to, yeah, you're insane, but I guess that's the point.
Mm-hmm. I guess it is really easy to get behind the sassy cat who makes fun of everybody. Especially for this group.
I just grew up really loving Salem because when I was a kid, I used to watch Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was like, yes, this. I'm gonna like this cat. Also, the voice sounds very familiar. Like
that
in
is
comparison.
Rob
Well, no, because it
Mundell?
reminds me a lot of Salem. The voice.
Yeah.
I
hear
I know
ya.
it's not the same voice actor, but it sounds similar enough.
I'm trying to see what
He
else.
actually did a pretty good job. Like, I would say he was probably the best voice actor in the show.
No. The best voice actor was for my favorite character, the little brother, who can't fucking talk.
Yeah,
Hmm.
just.
Okay, now that sounded like Cartman.
Well,
I enjoyed him the most. Mainly because I found him the least annoying.
That's interesting.
wait. You found him the least annoying, even though all of his dialogue is.
Yeah, but the thing is like, I don't normally like stupid humor or like the kind of humor they used in this. So while I think as a dub in general, it's fucking hilarious that they did it, I don't particularly find a lot of the actual dub that funny.
Unfortunately, it is a product of its time.
I still find a lot of it funny. Envy, question for you, because you're the one who saw Made in Abyss, right?
Yes.
Who is Ozen?
She's a character that's like a leader of the Cave Raiders.
Okay, cool. That's the little brother.
I didn't watch the dub. I just watched the sub. So
Never mind. I thought that was going
Is
to be
that the
funny or
only
something.
other thing they're in?
No, they're in a bunch of other stuff, but it's like I'm just reading like their blurb at the top of the wiki page, and it's just like, oh, Made in Abyss.
Gotcha.
Envy's seen that one. Let's see what there's in. I probably like the cat the most too. Secondly, Chris Patton. I really think Chris Patton's an underrated voice actor.
I mean, you were talking. I just looked up that guy's wiki page. I've seen Oron. He was in Oron High School Host Club. So
Yeah, you guys seen Full Metal Panic? I know one of you's seen Full Metal Panic.
Love Full Metal Panic.
It's fun.
Is he Sosuke?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, Chris Patton was in Oron? Who was he?
no, that guy that.
Oh, Todd Habercorn. Yeah.
Oh,
No, Kristen
Oh.
Uten. You said that played that was a person in Made in Abyss. Yeah.
ah.
True. Who's she in Oron?
I'm gonna butcher this name.
Honey?
Fuyumi Atori.
I was
I
wrong.
think that was the girl who
Was she in episode 1?
24.
Episode 24.
Kyoyo's sister.
Ah, barely remember her. It's been a long time since I've seen Oron.
They were unimportant. Oh, we all know Leo, right?
Leo.
Yes.
From Free.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When
Also-
I think
He's a
of
lot
gray
better
hairs,
here.
He's
Right.
in
Also from
so many
Oron.
things. Yeah.
I'm
Because
sorry.
he was Kaoru.
The most recent thing we saw on this was from Free, and it was it was not
Oh.
great.
Yeah.
But here he's fine. He's good. He's funny.
he's not Beast Boy, is he, from Teen Titans? Or am I thinking of a different voice actor?
You are thinking of a different voice actor.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I'm like, Beast Boy's voice is a little more high pitched than this one.
Oh, she
So.
was Estes.
Greg Sipes is who you're thinking of.
Okay.
Different
So-
Greg.
Okay, so maybe something more people would know. Christine played Izumi in Full Metal Alchemist, the teacher.
Yeah.
Nope.
I feel like we're talking to a wall with Chibi because they don't do dub.
Well, not just even that. I've also not seen Full Metal Alchemist.
What?
Ooh.
We had to watch part of it for Shonen Showdown.
We watched 3 episodes.
Yeah, out of 64. So that's all I watched too so
Yeah,
far.
that was definitely not enough to get to the teacher.
Wow.
No.
Okay, we got some backlog stuff to do.
Well, I might not join for that.
Do you have an issue with full? You know what? We can talk about that later.
I never answered your question. I don't think I have a favorite character. I like all of them.
I see.
They're all little shits.
Didn't you cosplay
Monica.
Momoko before?
I did, yeah.
Okay, I remember you doing that.
Still want to get a whole Ghost Stories group together.
I'm down.
The first CMV I ever wrote was for Ghost Stories.
I'm down. I'll be your Chris Patton. Chibi.
It's not my Chris Patton. It's whoever's doing sucks. Says
Chibi, you want to be a little brother?
I mean, I thought that was kind of the plan that had already been discussed.
Hey man, I was not part of this original conversation.
yeah, Al would make a very funny Ketchero.
Me? You want me to be the little brother? I'm like taller than all of you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No. But the idea of you running around in little rain boots, that's so funny.
I thought in this group I would have been typecasted as the cat.
I
That would also be
No, we
hilarious.
have a cat. We have Houdini.
well, you did also cosplay Monkey.
Yeah.
So why don't
That's
we
what I
just
was
have
thinking
you
about.
cosplay all the tiny characters from now on?
Okay, and then you cosplay all the really tall ones.
I mean, that would be very funny.
All right, Oron group. I'm Honey, you're Mori, and you will ride on my shoulder.
Mm.
Ugh.
Anyway, what was like? Do you guys have a favorite ghost from this? I'm trying to think of the
I
ones
don't
that
remember
stand.
any of the ghosts, to tell you the truth, other than the cat.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
the
think of
cat.
the ones that stand out the most to me. I remember. I mean, like Amano kind of stands out because he's the first one kind of out
No,
there.
wait, I take that back. The rabbit.
The rabbit was so much fun.
Oh yes, the rabbit.
That might be some of the best lines in the whole show.
The mom. The lesbian.
Touch me harder. The
Yeah,
ones
I don't
that-
even want to say any of the jokes because I don't want to spoil any of the jokes for
There
people that
were-
want to watch this.
Yeah, go look up a best of thing. Some of the other ones that kind of like I remember, like the sports festival one with the where it kind of chased Ketchero while he was running.
Oh, that was an interesting one, yeah.
The Lake of Blood where everyone's screaming every time something is said.
Yeah.
It kind of had a bit of like a Frau Blücher thing going on.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciated that. I always like a good Mel Brooks reference. And there was, oh god, which one was it? Like when you binge or like it, like everything kind of matches together. The really creepy girl who showed up in their house. Something to do with a phone. What am I thinking of? This show is like I didn't remember it being like this actually like legitimately creepy.
That makes me wonder though, if we were to actually watch the real version of the show, the sub that was actually, the legit show, would we enjoy it as much than the, dub?
I mean, probably depends.
Aren't they doing a redub right now?
I think they already did, didn't they?
Or at least
I
I just know that there either is or is going to be one. But I do...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I do honestly think, like, people's enjoyment of this show as it was originally intended to be, like, viewed, if they were going to do a redub, I feel like it really depends on, like, whether or not the person is looking for something that is, like, actually, like, sort of a monster of the week, kind of, sort of supernatural scary, like, kind of like Supernatural for kids, or something else, like, along those lines. And I think it might also just really depend on how well they actually do the writing, or at least, like, localize, the script as it's intended, to actually be viewed. But I digress. Anyway.
Yeah, that maybe that was the one. I can't speak. Maybe that was why they let them go free reign with the dub, because maybe they were concerned that the show, if they just did a direct translation, it wouldn't stand out as much, because it probably came out around the same time as like the American remakes of like The Grudge or The Ring or stuff like that. So like maybe it wouldn't have made it as big of an impact.
I mean, I feel like it still didn't. I feel like it didn't get popular until a little bit later on when people actually found it. I think upon release of the dub, it was technically a flop.
I think I found it through crack videos.
Like,
I mean,
it's a cult classic now.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, probably, because the dub came out in, like, the early 2000s, pre-YouTube, but yes. I think, like, a few years post-YouTube is where it probably gained most of its popularity from.
Probably. I would say that, yeah, probably around the time, and this is going back to Envy's thing. So The Ring came out in, the original Ring came out in 98, and the American version of it came out in 2002. Mm-hmm. So it's around that time frame. So probably, but also, like, access to anime was a bit more limited back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true.
Honestly, like, instead of horror, this felt more like slightly darker Cardcaptor Sakura. Yeah. Just, like, on the story beats.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's like Supernatural, but for kids, essentially.
I'm gonna look it up. I want to see what the actual reception was in Japan.
Okay, I found the ghost that I was looking for. Yamime, Yamama, something. The Dark Deity. And it was like a new classmate thing. It was kind of like a little bit like Another. Or actually a bit like the Junji Ito girl. Tomi?
Tomei, or is that her name?
Yeah.
Tomie?
Yeah. That bitch was fucking creepy. And like, I did not remember how creepy this show could actually be, just visually. Because if I had just been watching this kind of like visually, or like without like a lot of the jokes and that, it would have been like, oh, this is like actually kind of suspenseful and frightening a little bit.
This was not well received in Japan. It was a total flop upon air.
I kind of feel like that's how they got to be like, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want with it, or it's not getting over here.
Well, at the beginning of the episode, you said it was okay. No, people fucking hated it from the get-go.
Well, then I was wrong.
I mean, and maybe this is just the Wikipedia page, sources conflict as to whether the anime's original one was successful or not. But I don't know. I mean, I would assume that if they gave them this much creative license with a dub, I'm assuming they probably just wanted it to perform very well, and they're like, oh, here, do whatever. Not probably thinking that it would turn out to be what it was, or would end up becoming.
I mean, when you give people enough creative license, they will go kind of nuts. I mean, as long if you're never getting anyone being like, yeah, no, don't do that, people will keep pushing.
Yeah. Also, I will say, I'm just looking here, because I scroll down to the reception page, or portion of the Wikipedia page. The ending theme song is called "Sexy Sexy."
Oh, you didn't notice that?
Sexy, sexy.
No, I did. I just forgot.
That song used to be on my phone.
As I've said, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I have watched this. And when I say a long time, I have not watched this since college.
It hasn't been that. Oh my god, it's been long.
I am now 27. I watched this when I was 20. It's been a long time. Anyway. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Well, I'm trying to think of what else I always feel like we run into this issue when it's a show that we really like, because it ends up coming up a little bit short, because well, what do we talk about? Do we just say everything? But I mean, I feel like there's always more to talk about when we complain about stuff.
I mean, yeah. Also, I think it's easier to talk about stuff when it's something that's fresh on our minds. But I will say for me, I did not do another viewing of this since I'd already seen it.
I did. I watched a couple episodes. Did anyone rewatch the whole thing?
No. I kind of wish I had, but I've been busy this week.
It's you got a week between viewings of stuff, and then it's oh, we also have to deal with Halloween's coming up for real. And it's maybe we should have did this earlier in the month. I don't know.
Maybe.
One way or another. It's always going to be a yay for me. I'll go back to this every now and then just for some fun.
Hard yay. Do yourself a favor if you haven't seen it, get your friends together, make some drinks, and watch the whole thing. It is so funny.
And then tell them about Jesus.
You accepted Jesus as your personal savior?
I will say that this is a yay for me. It's always good to go back and reminisce, I suppose, about early 2000s humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what this is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a light yay for me because I didn't finish watching the show because I kind of, got a little tired of the same jokes after a while. But if you're just going in watching it fresh, yeah, it's a total riot because the stuff they get away with in this show, in this dub, it's Adult Swim, Comedy Central type humor. It's raunchy as shit.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciate that.
Did this get an Adult Swim run?
No, I'm just saying it feels like it's on Adult Swim.
It definitely should have.
I mean, it would definitely fit.
I would also say light yay. I think a light yay. It's definitely worth at least one watch through, and if the humor doesn't land with you, then eh. But the fact that it exists as a dub at all, amazing. 10 out of 10.
And to be a fly on the wall during the recording sessions with the voice actors, I can only imagine how much time they must have just bursted out laughing.
It must make you kind of think, if they got away with this, maybe were there any lines that they couldn't get away with?
Oh, yeah. Guaranteed. Guaranteed there were some jokes that were left on the cutting room floor. It's this is a different topic, but you remember the episode of SpongeBob where Patrick and SpongeBob, swear a lot?
Oh, Sailor Talk, yeah.
Yeah, well, they actually recorded Tom Kenny and Patrick's voice actors swearing.
Well, of course they did. I mean, how else are you going to get that?
Well, So there's footage out there of SpongeBob and Patrick dropping the F-bomb multiple times, and it'll never see the light of day.
Speaking of voice recording sessions for old cartoons, and oddly enough, speaking of Salem, did anyone here ever watch Angry Beavers?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you guys know that the older brother, Norbert, was the voice of Salem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, they got canceled a while ago. But they wanted to make this last episode, and they got, like, shut down in the middle of, like... They recorded the episode, all the lines in that, and they were gonna start animating it when Nickelodeon was like, yeah, we're completely pulling the plug, we're shutting down even the production of this final episode, you're done. And apparently, this audio is now somewhere on YouTube. It revolves around Norbert explaining to Daggett how their show is getting canceled, and they're slowly watching their own reality dissolve away.
Ooh, dark.
Yeah, it's dark, it's meta, it's very weird, but at the same time also very funny in like that Angry Beavers kind of way. And I think some people have actually like gone and like made some small animation stuff for it, but like it definitely feels like, hey, there's no more rules anymore, let's have some fun right before. And then like, at a certain point they stop calling each other Daggett and Norbert, and they just started calling each other the actual voice actors' names. Like,
or like that one
the fourth wall's breaking down.
Or like that one episode of Chowder where they run out of animation budget, and it's literally the voice actors in real life.
Yeah.
They had to do a car wash.
Yeah. No money means no animation.
I like the joke from that where the wife Truffles?
Yeah, Truffles.
Yeah, Truffles
Yes.
flies in, he's like, "No, you're not in this episode."
Yeah.
You know what? I gotta go back and rewatch the rest of that show, because that's a pretty good show.
Loved that show. It was so funny.
Is Truffles the Rada guy?
Yeah, rada rada.
Yeah.
Schnitzel.
Yeah, John DiMaggio got paid all that money just to say Rada Rada.
To be fair, he
Dude.
says it different every single time.
I know.
Here's the thing though. To be paid to do that. Think about it.
Rada
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 Rada.
rada. Yeah. Well, you got a lot of good recommendations for stuff here. The last episode of Angry Beavers, Ghost Stories, Chowder, all sorts of stuff.
I was going to say, if you take anything out of this episode, watch clips of Ghost Stories on YouTube and watch Chowder.
If you haven't seen the full Ghost Stories, watch it, and then afterwards just rewatch your favorite clips. You'll get about the same effect from that. Anything else to say before spooky season's over?
Apparently there's a video game of Ghost Stories.
Ooh.
Was it a visual novel?
I did not actually read into it. It just
Well,
said,
if we find out anything about it, maybe we'll play it at some point. Meantime, though, next week, we have some stuff planned for the end of the year that we want to like finish out the year on, but we don't have like, it's not going to start next week, but it's going to have some stuff to do. I won't say what all it is, but it has some stuff to do with dubbing and certain types of dubbing. But leaning off of Ghost Stories, you know, which you can argue is good or bad or just funny in general, another funny dub of a show is what we're going to be watching next week. It's something that I saw, came out in the early 2000s, and had a ton of fun with, so I want to show all of you guys it. We're going to be watching Duel Masters, which is a card game anime that most people say is a ripoff of Yu-Gi-Oh! Weirdly enough, is not. And I'm going to be honest with you, is way more bizarre and interesting than I thought as I started looking up some stuff about it. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys that, and then explaining just how deep the rabbit hole gets with it later on. So, looking forward to that. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!